Share your.
I wouldn't. One of those things where we just walk around and kind of duck in because they had outdoor dining.
Yeah.
We went about a year and a half ago, so COVID was still a little bit more prevalent, so we sat outside and food was just, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I told you about that dinner reservation. Live music in the evening, seafood.
Yes.
Yes, we'll be doing that.
So if you like that.
Yeah, my wife and I.
And it's downtown, so if you're just kind of cruising around down there and you just wander in.
See, now it's not
If you go, yeah, and I know it said reservation there, I don't think we had.
Really? Okay.
But if you're, it depends on, like, if you're Saturday night.
Sharing that too.
Yes, I just was double checking
on
that
around
first.
on Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably just walk right in and ask.
All right, how we doing?
Good, man.
Good. It's 12 o'clock. We have a 12 o'clock appointment, so let's get started.
All right.
My name is John Fountain. I'm the partner lead for Homeward. Guys, simply put, we are the best cash offer solution in business. We're not a mortgage-backed guarantee. We're not a bridge loan. We're buying homes for your clients with our cash, funded directly out of a bank account. Literally check box 1B. It says buyer doesn't have the right to get a loan. Okay? So it's the most secure offer a listing agent or seller can receive. Guys, I've been doing this since '99, selling real estate, that is, in the Atlanta market. The last 2 years have without a doubt been the craziest real estate market I've ever been a part of. There's music happening. Let me turn that
There
on.
it is.
Let me see if I can stop that. There we go. I think I got it. So it's without a doubt the craziest real estate market I've ever been a part of. Hey, what would you guess? You've been in the class before, don't share, because I don't want to give away a water bottle. What percentage of offers in May of this year in the Metro Atlanta market were cash?
This year?
May.
May.
Metro Atlanta.
50%.
Higher. Higher than 70%.
Holy cow.
What? Don't sleep on Ivy.
All right.
Follow-up question, okay, 70%, stop right there, just think about this. You make an offer on a house and you're not cash, and there's 2 other offers on that house. The other 2 are cash, okay? What percentage do you increase your chances of winning with cash versus a loan?
If all things are equal?
Redfin did the research, and what they did was they hierarchied what wins in a multiple offer situation. And they didn't say all things equal, they said you increase your chances of winning with cash versus a loan with this by this percentage. 354%. You're 4 times more likely to win with cash versus a loan, according to this article. Okay. One more rear view mirror. Okay. First quarter, second quarter, on average, nationally, how many offers was a buyer with a loan having to make before they won?
15.
Okay, interesting. You say 4, you say 15. In Atlanta, I always hear 15, 12, 10. The national stat is 7. So, but Atlanta's a different market, right? I think it's because our median sales price has been lower. So right there, 7 offers. On average, how many offers does a cash buyer have to make in the same article? 1. I'm out of water bottles. I got pens, so don't quit playing. Yeah, it's 7 to 1. So guys, just think about right there. If you're in a multiple offer situation and your buyer can't win, you increase your chances of winning by 354%. And 7 to 1, you just got 6 Saturdays back for every buyer. Okay. Now, what's the buzzword in our industry right now? The market has shift, right? What does that mean? I saw an article literally 2 weeks ago. Okay. Year-to-date appreciation is down, this is the headline, it's down 2%. You know what it's down from? 19 to 17. Okay, guys. Historically, we appreciated 4 to 5%, okay? We're at 17% year to date. The market has shifted. Yes, you're not gonna get 15 offers on every house anymore. You're only gonna get 2 or 3. You're not gonna sell your houses in 48 hours anymore. It's gonna take 2 or 3 weeks, right? So what people are asking me today is, how is Homeward going to adapt? How does Homeward help me in a shifting market, okay? Well, what's the power of cash? Right? Cash is what? Say it again.
Cash is king.
What about preferred? Cash is king, yes. What about preferred? At my card tag recently, Mr. Fountain, that'll be $235 if you're paying with card, or $200 if I'm paying with. At the pump, 10 cents per gallon. At restaurants now, have y'all seen this? It's $100 or 97. What's 3%? Cost of a contingency. Will a seller take a contingency in this market? No. You say no? Who said that? Okay. I say,
Starting to see them a little more.
how is you gonna start seeing it if you're not already?
I think you start seeing it, but lately it hasn't been the rule.
So my question to you is, what does that contingency cost you and your client in negotiation leverage? Found an article, I love this, guys. I love this, okay? San Diego, University of San Diego did the research. Over the last 40 years, on average, a cash buyer gets 12% in negotiation power versus a loan. That could be off a list price. That could be towards inspection costs. It could be any type of negotiation leverage. So the cost of the contingency, now, don't go out and say I can get you 12% every time. But what if it's 4%? What if it's 5%? In 2019, I made 2 offers on the house I currently live in. One was a contingent offer. Seller said, no, thank you. There's 2 offers. Both of us had contingency. He says, we don't want to take a contingency. Come back once your house sells. Came back 2 days later with a Homeward offer. That was the first Homeward transaction in Georgia. No contingency, no financing, no appraisal. Closing in 14 days. He had already moved out. They had already moved out of the house. Okay, so they were in a hurry to sell. I reduced the offer price by, get this, $30,000, and he took it. I got 7%. Cost of the contingency in my situation was 7% in 2019. I think the market today is almost identical to 2019. Where, if you remember, 2019, those of us that were in the business end, we're still historically one of the best markets ever, right? And what was it? Homes are selling in 2 to 3 weeks. You know, the appreciation was moving along pretty not 17%, by the way, but it was moving along at like 7 or 8%, which is probably where we'll land by the end of the year, don't you think? 8, 9, somewhere around there. So anyway, all that to say, I wanted to give you some talking points and some context around how this product can help you. The other big thing as we go through this, guys, this is a huge lead generation lever, okay? In 2019, I went back into sales. I was in sales for the first 10 years, was a team leader for about 8 years, went back into sales in 2019. We did 20 Homeward deals as a team in 2019. You know what our number 1 lead gen source was? Expireds, which are back. But I could attribute 60 transactions where Homeward got us in the door, but they didn't use Homeward. And then 20 did. So about 1 in 4. Okay? So as we go through this, you can use this as a lead gen lever that gets you in the door, and then maybe they use Homeward as an option, maybe they don't. That's okay. And we've got the tools for you to do that. Okay? All right, everybody sign in. Anybody need the sign-in sheet? Thank you. Okay, guys. Standing out you know, obviously you can stand out in the sea of sameness. I gave you my intro. The agenda today, we're gonna go through the Homeward way, give you a little background on Homeward. We're gonna talk about 2 products, buy before you sell and buy with cash. We're gonna look at what it looks like to work with us, who can use us, how to use us, and what we actually buy. And then we'll go into getting you guys started, okay? As we go through this, guys, just small enough to interrupt me, ask questions. Let's, you know, we'll get down and as down and dirty as you guys want to get in the next hour. But I want to make sure you guys have a good understanding of the product and that you can use this in your business. You all know Tim? Tim Heil? Tim is a Keller Williams agent in Austin, Texas. He got his license in 2009. His team last year did just over 11 million in gross commission, okay? He hasn't been involved with his team since 2018. In 2018, he was the listing agent for the Heil Group in Austin. And he would go on listing appointments and they would say, hey, I'm Tim, I'm scared of selling my house because I don't know how to secure my next house. And Tim was like, you know what? Eventually he had had enough and he's like, I'll buy your next house. We'll get you approved. I'm gonna buy your next house. Once it closes, you can move in and skip all the inconveniences of selling your existing home. Once that closes, you can buy the new house back from me. And he funded the very first Homeward deal. Now, since then, we've gone on to raise over 500 million. The reason why that's important to you, I go back to what I said in the beginning, we're the most secure offer that a seller can receive because we're literally buying the home with cash, proof of funds letter attached. Okay. The other cool thing about Homeward that I love sharing, guys, we are agents and we're direct to agents. And we're the only power buyer that can say those 2 things. We're the only one. We are agents, so we get you because we are you. So we try to make this as easy as possible as a process. And then number 2, you're a client. So we're not going around you, we're trying to work with you so that you can use this with your clients. Make sense? We have 3 companies. We have the cash products, which we're talking about today. We have a mortgage company and a title company. Now, most agents have enjoyed working with us because you don't have to use our mortgage and title to use our products. Okay? Now, we believe that it's a seamless transaction when you bundle all 3 because it gives us more control. So we do incentivize your client to do so. And I'll talk about that when we get to cost. Okay? But if you've got who's your preferred partner, lender? Guaranteed. Okay, so guaranteed, we're not here to step on your relationships with Guaranteed Mortgage. Our hope is that you create a bigger pie and that Guaranteed Mortgage gets the upper half of that bigger pie, right? But some of them are going to use Homeward because it makes sense.
John, with Georgia closing attorneys.
Okay.
Will they use Homeward title?
So we have our own preferred attorney, and we're not going to allow them to lose a deal over that. Oftentimes, listing agents have already chosen an attorney. What we say to the client is, you might pay more in transfer tax because when they buy it back, we will use the preferred attorney. So, but we'll work with you. We'd love for you to understand the process on the deals that you get. It's seamless. Okay. Buy before you sell, buy with cash, 2 products. Buy before you sell is literally, I have a home to sell. Hesitant list buy, competitive listing situation. Buy with cash is for anybody that doesn't have a home to sell. So don't overcomplicate it, don't overthink it. So first time home buyer, second home buyer, investor, multifamily, up to 4 units for buy with cash. Okay. We talked about standing out. We've talked about turning contingent shoppers into cash buyers. Guys, you're gonna win more offers. You're gonna win them faster. You're probably gonna get better terms for your clients, which is a huge home run. One thing I didn't tell you is some of those 20 deals ended up being referrals. And so in my experience now as the partner lead for Homeward, what I'm seeing is agents are getting referrals hand over fist because the product is so valuable and the experience is so good. So you're gonna work with Greg, and then Greg's gonna go, hey, can you represent my friend or my, so-and-so's thinking about selling? You're gonna get more referrals by providing it as an option. Benefits for your clients, work with an agent they already know and trust. You guys get paid on all the transactions just like you always would. So on a list buy, you'd be paid on 2. On a buy with cash, you'd be paid for 1, just like you always would. Your client enjoys a calmer, more convenient experience. What makes an iBuyer so successful? Why is an iBuyer attractive to a seller?
You're not getting into the house, you wanna.
No showing.
Convenience, right? I don't have to make my bed every day. I don't have to be here. I don't have to move in with the in-laws. I don't have to move twice. Same thing with us. The only difference is we provide convenience on both sides. So now they can secure their new home, move in, bring their dogs, their cats, their kids, their in-laws, whoever with them, then sell their house vacant. And you're gonna help them get top dollar, which in theory should be more than an iBuyer, right? And then finally, they get to win the home they love on their terms. Okay, as we go through this, guys, ask questions. I promise I'm gonna get to all of them. I already know the questions you're gonna ask, by the way, but that's fine. Interrupt me as we get through it. One thing I want you to know, though, you will not, you're going to have a Homeward advisor assigned to you today. So if you want to get down into specifics about a client or a current situation and that sort of thing, your Homeward advisor can help you with that, rather than going down too far into the weeds like in a class. Plus, I'll stay after if we need to. But your Homeward advisor is there to help you and be your liaison on all of these details. So don't feel like you have to remember all of them as you get through it, okay? Okay, buy before you sell, 6 easy steps. Step number 1, get your client approved. We do a full underwriting on the front end, full underwriting, okay? 2 parts. Number 1, a standard mortgage application, so W-2s, bank statements, debt to income, credit. Our minimum credit score is 640. The other thing we do is we look at their current house. They answer a questionnaire about upgrades and things like that and submit pictures. We do a valuation of that current house. We include that equity in their big picture finance, okay? And we underwrite them as if that's already sold, okay? Underwriting takes about 2 to 3 days. Once we get your client's information back, it's about 2 or 3 days for us to get them fully underwritten. Couple things I want you to know. We do VA loans. We do conventional loans. We do jumbo up to $3 million. FHA doesn't work with our product because of the 90-day flip rule, okay? We also don't do any type of down payment assistance. Now, once your client's approved, they get to go out and be a cash buyer. Guys, I have 3 kids. My youngest, he's hilarious, okay? This kid is 10 years old now, but ever since he was like 4 or 5, literally we'd go to a store and he'd be like, Daddy, is this a buying trip or a shopping trip, okay? And what he's really asking is, are you gonna give me $5 or not? So the minute I go, Jet, here's $5, what do you think he did? Boom, he's gone. He's running to the shelf. He's grabbing whatever candy or whatever he's looking for. And he's going, Dad, let's go. I'm at the register. Let's get out of here. Well, I say that, I love telling that story because your client, this is a buying trip. They are now, if they're motivated, ready to go and buy with their cash. They're not out there kicking tires, okay? Now, once you find the house that they love, you're gonna do the same due diligence that you always do when they're ready to make an offer. You're gonna do a standard comparative market analysis, CMA, just like you always would. You're gonna advise your client on the terms like you always would, okay? You still have all control in negotiations. Once you and your buyer decide on those terms, you're gonna draw it up on a standard GAR contract with Homeward as the buyer. John, do I have to put my buyer's name on it? Does my buyer need to sign it? No, it's Homeward buying the house for your client with our cash. Cash exhibit, Check the box 1B, buyer does not have the right to get a loan. 0-day appraisal contingency. Okay? Don't freak out, I'll tell you how your client's protected in a second, by the way, we'll get to that, okay? We need a minimum of 5 days due diligence. Minimum. Yes, 7 works, 10 works, minimum of 5. The reason is your client is required, 2 reasons. Number 1, your client is required to get an inspection. Okay? On that inspection report, we need to see a copy of that, and we're looking for 2 things. Number 1, is the roof okay? And number 2, is the foundation okay? If those 2 things are good, Homeward is good. Check, check.
So you don't have any, will there be aside from those 2 things, a case where Homeward asks for things during due diligence, or is that up to the client?
Totally up to you. You and your client decide on those terms. You negotiate the inspection just like you always would, with the exceptions of roof, foundation.
Is there maximum age for roof or HVAC systems, water heaters?
Not HVAC or heaters or anything like that. If you negotiate a home warranty, we can put that right in your client's name when we close. As far as roof on age, we need to know that it's going to appraise when we do the final appraisal. So it's anything typically that would need to be fixed. You know, if there's a leak in the roof, that needs to be addressed. A roof that's nearing the end of life, that's okay, we're okay with. As long as the appraisal comes back on that final, which we haven't had any issues with nearing the end of life if it's in good condition. By the way, your client chooses, y'all choose the inspector. Your client pays for the inspection, okay? Remember I told you there's 2 things in that 5-day due diligence. Second is we order a preliminary appraisal, okay? Desktop, nobody goes to the house. It's up to you whether you talk to the listing agent about that or not. Your client's protected by due diligence, not the appraisal contingency on the cash, okay? When we get that prelim appraisal back, if it's contract price, we're good to go. If it's below contract price, your client has the same 3 options they always have. Number 1, terminate, keep their earnest money because they're in due diligence. Number 2, we can use that preliminary appraisal to negotiate with the listing agent. And number 3, if they're willing and able, which we know on step 1, to pay the difference, we're good. Your client has to be willing and able to do that. And if they are, we're good. We don't care if they want to pay $200,000 more for the house, as long as they're willing and able, which we already know. Based on equity, based on everything. Your client does, just like they always would. Yeah. So that prelim. Now, why do we do a dual appraisal process? Okay, we do the prelim in the beginning, so your client knows how their loan will be impacted when the final appraisal comes back. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac require us to do a final appraisal after we own the house, which is why we do 2, okay? On that final appraisal, by the way, there is 2 costs on the appraisal, so that's a little nuance there. Desktop's much less expensive than the final, but there's still 2 costs there, okay? The final appraisal comes back. If it's contract price, we're good to go. In the very unlikely scenario, I say unlikely because we've already closed at contract price, so we're our own best comp, okay? And when I say very unlikely, it's happened twice. We've done thousands of vehicles. If it does come back less, we will allow your client to terminate and keep their earnest money. But John, they've already moved into the house. That's right. John, do they have to move out? Yes, because we're going to sell it. We're not holding it, okay? So there's a little bit of risk your client's assuming. Again, it's very unlikely. By the way, it's only happened twice. I did this class a week ago in your market center, and the fellow in the front row is one of the 2.
Wow.
I don't remember his name, but y'all would know him. He's very vocal. It worked out. His client ended up paying the difference, but obviously in the moment, that's stressful, right?
So you said 0 days appraisal contingency in the contract, right?
Correct.
Seems like that takes away some of your argument on negotiating the price down.
How so?
Well, because you're telling them you're not gonna do an appraisal, right?
Well, no.
Basically, you're saying.
You're telling the seller you're not doing it, right?
Exactly,
You're not telling the buyer that.
the seller, right.
Yeah, you know, a lot of agents at this point have either done a Homeward deal or a Ribbon deal or a Knock deal or an Orchard deal. So the majority of agents already know that there is some sort of preliminary appraisal. My thought was, in not 2019, when I was using Homeward as an agent, I always told the listing agent, look, you're gonna know in 5 days. Like if we get through the 5-day due diligence and my buyer flakes, Homeward's still gonna buy your house. So it is literally the most secure offer you can get past that 5-day period. Go ahead and tell the listing agent about that prelim appraisal. Hey, we got to know how the loan might be impacted. And let them know.
Still less than normal.
Or 7 or 10 or whatever.
So if you're putting in a 0-day appraisal contingency, how does the buyer have the right to determine? That's supposed to be due diligence.
The prelim comes back, I may not have said this, within 3 to 5 days.
Oh, okay, so
So it's in the due diligence, which is why we need a minimum of 5.
5 days.
I got into it with Ribbon before. I was on the seller side, and it was the same thing. It was a due diligence period of, I think, 7 days with no appraisal contingency. And they got an appraisal done in those 7 days and wanted to lower the price, and I really put no appraisal contingency. So I understand it, but
Go ahead, go ahead and tell the seller, go ahead and tell the listing agent and seller, hey, we're doing a prelim appraisal, but if we get through this 5-day due diligence, we're golden. Yeah,
So even further down in the cash exhibit, for the right to appraise.
Yeah.
Section
0 days.
And because you're in due diligence, the reason you're terminating is because of the appraisal. It really doesn't matter if you can terminate for any reason.
Yeah, I mean, right, I mean, you're an attorney, right? So, well, due diligence, I can terminate for any reason or no reason at all.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm protected.
Yeah.
You're mad because I did an appraisal. Well, hey, I just told you it wasn't contingent upon the appraisal. Yeah. I'm still within my rights to terminate.
you are. It's just the first time that happens to you from the sell side, pisses you off. I've seen me do it.
So tell them on the front. That's what I always did in 19. So I just told them, listen, if we get through the 5 days, we're golden.
Yeah, I think you got it. I mean, otherwise it's bad blood all the way.
A lot of them are gonna know now. I mean, we're 3 years into the Atlanta market. So a lot of them know by now.
And the appraisals are getting more, from what I've seen, getting more in line as far as, people aren't overbidding like they were. It's not as big a challenge.
The greatest line I heard recently is sellers are still thinking 6 months ago. Buyers are thinking 6 months out.
That's true.
And that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you make the offer, those are the terms. Remember, you and your client decide on the terms, we're the buyer. Seller accepts the offer. Once we go binding, with Homeward as the buyer, we're gonna turn right around and write a buyback agreement with your client, okay? It's gonna mirror our agreement, okay? Couple of nuances I'll get to in a second, where we're actually gonna finance the convenience fee, which we'll talk about in a second. So the price is gonna look a little different to give your client an option to finance that, and we'll talk about that in just a moment, okay? We can close on the buy before you sell, 21 days. So it's a quick close. Once we close, your client can move right in. We give them 6 months to buy it back. On average, it takes 45 days for them to sell their house, close, access the equity, turn around and buy the new one back, okay? They work with you to do that?
And that will probably change moving forward too. 45 days might get stressful.
Potentially, let's call it 60. Yeah. So you sell the old client's home after they've moved into the new house, so they get to skip all the inconveniences of making their bed every day. And then again, once it sells, they turn right around, concurrently close on their new one. Okay? By the way, the Homeward closing is virtual. So you guys don't have to go to 3 closings. It's the first one's virtual. So we're signing electronically from Austin. Okay. All right?
Can't wait to hear about those 3 commissions.
Well, let me back up a second. You're paid commissions as an agent, just like you always would be. So you're paid, when Homeward closes, you're paid.
The first time.
The Homeward closes on the house, as an agent, you're paid whatever the FMLS or MLS, you and the co-oping agent had agreed on. You're also paid on the listing when you sell their existing home, whatever you negotiate. There's a third closing.
Change from when y'all first came out? It seems like we didn't get paid on the Homeward buy until the client bought it,
Yes.
and now we get paid when Homeward buy it.
You're welcome.
Yes, sir.
Hey, y'all got mad enough to where we had to change it. I should say thank you. Yeah, that's good for y'all. Right, yeah, that's a good thing. So I'm glad y'all brought that up.
So what's our liability then? So say we sell the buyer's house, right?
Well, Kirk, we don't need to worry about it.
Yeah, and basically what it is. Okay, thanks. Good luck. I mean, what do we do after that?
Well, you still have a buyer's rep with your client.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're still fiduciary representing the client on the buyback from Homeward. Now,
What's that look like? We put them in touch with you, or they're already in touch with you, and it's just a virtual close, or what?
it's not a virtual close. They're going to go to the attorney.
Okay.
Yeah, and in that, by the way, with our attorney, he's mobile.
Okay.
So you might be going back to the house after they've lived in it for 2 weeks. Right. So you're just doing a housewarming pop by. You go, attorney's there, sign the documents. See you later. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, your pizza. It's actually, I've never really thought about it as a pop by like that in that sense, but that's a great way to
It's a
think.
great thing, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's cool. All right, buy with cash. Works exactly the same way, we just don't have a home to sell. You're a first-time home buyer, second home buyer, investor. Now, buy before you sell, 21-day close. We give them 6 months, on average 45 days, possibly longer moving forward. Buy with cash, we give them 30 days to close and buy it back. And it takes on average about 20. And that shouldn't change. Now, guys, in this new market, I think this is the better product. This to me provides more value to you. But don't sleep on the fact that over the last 40 years, buyers with cash get 12% of negotiation leverage. So if you're working with a first-time home buyer and you bring a cash offer, you're putting them in a better position from the negotiations.
John, does Homeward Mortgage have like 5% conventional?
We do. We're very competitive in regards to mortgage, and we've even got a what we call a best price guarantee. So you can shop another loan estimate and compare. Yeah. And then we'll match we'll match their terms up to 1% of the loan amount, which we'll talk about in a second.
Because most of the first time, they still
Yeah.
have a big down.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's hold that thought, because for a first-time home buyer, with the way our product works, they can finance 1.9% of their closing costs, which is a huge gift. Yeah. Okay. So how much does it cost? Okay. In a traditional loan, what expenses does your client have? Down payment, closing costs, inspection, appraisal, survey if they want it, right? All of those normal real estate costs still apply. We're adding 2 things as a result of using Homeward. One is a convenience fee, and the second is rent. Okay, we're gonna talk about both of those now. Now, rent is the same on both products, the convenience fee is a little different, so let's go through the convenience fee first, okay? Buy before you sell. I have a home to sell, hesitant list buy, competitive listing situation. Standard convenience fee in Georgia is 2.4%. Now, for the last 2 years, I've been saying Georgia's special. We're the only attorney state, by the way, in all the other states. So our expenses are a little bit higher. Our pricing is changing to where everybody's gonna match Georgia, so, boom. There you go.
2.4% of the purchase price or the loan amount?
Purchase price. Now, remember what I said before, Homeward goes under a contract for 500,000. When we go under contract for 500,000, we're gonna take the buyback agreement at 512,000 to include the 2.4% convenience. Why do we do that? We want the appraisers working off that higher number to give your client the option to finance that 12,000. So now it's $25 a month or $27 a month as opposed to $12,000 at closing. Okay? The other thing that I want you to notice here, when they use Homeward Mortgage, it's 1.4%. RESPA requires us to charge everybody 2.4%, and then we give them a 1% credit towards closing costs.
That's true.
Would they use their own lenders 2.4?
Correct. And notice here, best price guarantee, go to homewardmortgage.com and you can read the fine print on this, drive your clients there. But if they get a loan estimate from another lender, we'll beat or match those terms up to 1% of the loan amount. $400,000 loan, we'll give them $4,000 either towards closing costs or to buy the rate down. And that's different. Notice that this 1% discount and this best price guarantee are two different things. So at the end of the day, what I want y'all to hear is if they shop, they can rest assured that they're getting the best deal. And if another lender has a better deal, it's 2.4%. That's okay. Nobody's asked it yet. What do you notice that we haven't talked about here? Asterisk. Okay, let me explain, okay? 3 years ago, when we entered the Georgia market, we were 300,000 to 3 million. Yeah. Our median sales price at the time was like 289. Okay, what is it today, by the way? 455. Really? Median sales price in Atlanta, 455. Now, 289, everybody kept coming to us and going, hey, can you do 279? Can you do 265? Can you do 252.9? The answer is yes, we can do that. And our convenience fee and profit margins don't make sense in that lower bracket. So what we said is we can do it if and only if we increase the convenience fee by 0.5%, either way. So it's either 2.9 or 1.9 in that bracket. Only for buy before you sell, by the way. Buy with cash is still 200 to 3 million with no increase. Okay? Our profit margins are a little bit better for us on
I'm sorry, what are the house prices
250 to
on the buy with cash?
buy with cash is 200 to 3 million. And buy before you sell is 250 to 3 million.
And there's like an additional 0.5% on the buy with cash?
On buy before you sell. Only on buy before you sell. Meaning I have a home to sell. Okay. There's a little bit more risk and our profit margins are a little bit less because of the transfer taxes on buy before you sell. Correct. Guys, this is the best slide, okay? This is the best one. This is it. Standard convenience fee on buy with cash is 1.9%. If they use Homeward Mortgage, what is it?
0.
What? You can turn every investor, every first-time home buyer, every second home buyer into a cash buyer. I mean, again, go back to the lead gen lever. Man, I would be singing this at the top of my lungs to everyone I meet. it's a no-brainer. You're buying a house, what if I could turn you into a cash buyer and increase your leverage in negotiations? For nothing, literally, zero.
So you said investor, so you got a guy that you found a property, but it won't go anything but cash. Because of the condition of the property. Are y'all into that?
So it must be habitable, meaning it must be able to appraise if they're doing a loan. He's not doing a loan. If he's buying it cash, he doesn't really need our cash. So if he's doing a loan on the other side, it must be habitable. So we don't typically work with flippers. It would be buy hold.
Yeah, this would be about, one I'm thinking would be a buy hold.
If it's got, if it's missing a kitchen, that's an issue. If it's missing a bathroom, that's an issue. The roof, we know, is an issue. Foundation's an issue. Major mechanical stuff missing and it doesn't appraise, that's a problem.
So what kind of, I'm just thinking logistically, thinking this through, you got a buyer with cash buyer that has nothing to sell. Got them pre-approved, they're a cash buyer, they go through the process. See, the prorated rent begins the day Homeward closes on the new home.
Yeah.
What is the gap between the time Homeward closes versus, how quick can you close that? They're already pre-approved and everything, why can't it be simultaneous, I guess?
Well, so remember, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac require the final appraisal to be done, right, once we own the house.
And that takes usually
10 days. And to get their financing, on average, it takes about 20 days total. Transfer and everything.
So it's about 3 weeks.
Yeah. Now, you're gonna tell them it takes a month. Okay? Listen, let me say that again.
Under promise and over deliver.
Thank you, CYA. Because when you tell them 20 and it's 21, I've seen it. Everybody gets mad. They get mad as over.
So they're basically renters for a month, then they close.
Yeah. And so go back to this situation. This is a first-time homebuyer. You're just giving them a gift to be able to finance 1.9%. Remember, RESPA card charges, we have to charge everybody the same. But we give them that 1.9% credit towards closing. So $500,000 buyer, they're buying it back at $509,500. We give them $9,500 towards their closing cost.
You gotta talk about how the convenience fee is rolled in to the mortgage or whatever.
Yeah, that's it. $500,000, let's say the buyer's buying it for Homeward's buying it for $500.
Yep.
We write the buyback agreement at $509,500 to include the 1.9%. If they've used Homeward Mortgage, then we credit them back $9,500.
So they're not having to come out of pocket for that.
Correct.
How was rent calculated? Thank you.
Sorry.
Ask you, you shall
see. Sorry.
I'm glad I'm thinking.
High days, right? Let's go. All right, so 3 things I want you to know about rent. Number 1, it's prorated by day, from the time Homeward closes until they buy it back. Average time buy before pre-sale is 45 days. Average time buy with cash is 20. Second thing is they don't owe rent until they close and buy it back. So there's no upfront cost on either convenience fee or rent. The only thing they need upfront is earnest money, just like all. Right. Third thing I want you to know, we don't mark up rent. Okay? 3 years ago, I used to say it's about market rate, and then market rate doubled,
Oh, yeah.
and our formula stayed exactly the same. Okay? Your client's going to pay about $50 to about $250 a day, depending on whether they're buying a $200,000 house or a $3 million house. So first-time home buyer, buying a $325,000, $350,000 house, about $72 a day, 3 weeks, all in $1,400 if they use Homeward Mortgage.
So I think the first time I heard y'all's presentation, it was 0.072 of the purchase price of the house was the rent, so that's gone.
No, so it's the formula hasn't changed.
It's the same, okay.
0.72% times the purchase price divided by 30 is the exact formula.
Okay.
That's the daily rent rate.
Say that one more time.
0.72% times the purchase price divided by 30 is the daily rent rate. Under $1 million, over $1 million, it's 0.55%. The rest of the formula is the same.
Rent starts after they close.
Closing here.
Yeah, when Homeward closes, until they close and buy back. Okay, any questions about process or cost before we go into working with us? Okay, first, how would you use this in lead gen?
Most time homeowners out there that haven't been able to do anything in the last year.
Yeah. Buyer seminar, home buyer seminars could make it come back. Virtually, by the way, that'd be so easy to do, by the way. We used to have to like, reserve the market center, order food, all that kind of stuff. Now you just do it virtually. That'd be so easy. What else? How else could you use this?
Any seller that's thinking about selling but didn't know where they're gonna go yet.
I'm gonna talk about that in a second.
Move twice.
I used to manage a restaurant in college, and the guy who owned the restaurant would always tell us, he would say, if one person complains about their steak, 9 don't, and they leave the restaurant and never come back. And I think it's true in your sphere. I think if one person calls you today and says, I'm scared of selling my house because I don't want to move in with my in-laws, I think there's 9 that never call you. And the call we get is 5 weeks later because they Googled it, how do I do this? And they call you and they go, hey, I was gonna call you, but I found XYZ, insert your favorite competitor, and we moved. You're like, Mom, I thought I was your guy. Right? But if it hasn't happened to you already, it will. What do you do? Okay, anything else? How else would you use it? I think those are great. Seller seminars, I think, are a way to go now. There's somebody is going to be on stage at MegaCamp talking about seller seminars. Go watch for it.
Would you think you might want to partner with us if we were to hold a seller seminar like
1000%. For sure. Yes. Okay.
You said we're all getting a rep after this is over.
And it's beneficial for both of us, your rep and me. So we'll figure a way to make that work. Okay. So consider your pipeline. Okay. Somebody in the room has somebody right now. They're like, man, we made 7 unsuccessful offers, and I'm gonna get this guy back on the phone, right? So that's one thing. But think about investors. I mean, hey, listen, I know we made several offers. You're trying to find the just right deal. What if we can make you a cash buyer for nothing? Your investor will be all over that. Let's go, right? Move up buyer, downsizing buyer, first time home buyer. We talked about hesitant list buys. Competitive listing presentation. Okay, I'll walk into your house. Tell me your name. Daryl. Okay, Daryl, I can turn every buyer that walks through the doors into this house into a cash buyer and avoid you having to worry about a loan contingency. Would that be beneficial to you? Okay. Well, the next agent's not going to say that. Boom, just got a listing. Right?
Just work on new construction.
For sure. We don't do custom homes. We don't do construction of permanent loans. So think, your typical builder, a neighborhood that's planned, for sure. Even if it's not even, they're buying a lot to build a home, that's good. That's
Still
okay.
good, okay.
Yeah, that's right. And think about a builder that won't take a contingency. You don't have to take any contingency. Right. Yeah. Lead event at an open house. Okay. Did y'all know the average conversion in an open house is 10%? I got an agent that is literally getting 40% promoting Homeward in open houses. Quadrupled the return just by promoting Homeward. hey, if I could turn you into a cash buyer and you could move first, is that something you would consider? Well, yeah. And by the way, I'm just kidding, I'm not really Mickey Mouse. Let me give you my real name, and my real number, and my real email. I'm sorry I signed in that way. You can trust me. All right. Client you met 5 or helped buy 5 or 7 years ago, buyer looking to move in a hot neighborhood, out of town buyer. We're in 7 states. I'll show you where they are in a second. If your client is moving from anywhere and buying in those 7 states, we can help. So they're moving from New York, which we're not licensed in, but they're buying in Georgia. We can take the equity from their home in New York. They could move first and then sell their house in New York. After they do.
And since you're not in New York, we can refer it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Oh, you can, by the way, we have a Facebook page that we call the Agent Referral Network. You can refer to states we're in. Yeah, we want you to do that. That's a home run. We're not closing agent deals. You're our client. So we're trying to create pathways for you to do that. No one's going to mega camp over there. We're doing a run on Wednesday morning with Homeward, Brian Giebernick and that sort of stuff. We're going to run from the hotels to the stadium. We're trying to get as many people over as you can. Home run with Homeward. It's 3 miles. It's 3 miles. It'll be a run walk. Yeah. Okay. Buy box. 200 to 3 million. Remember, buy before you sell in Georgia is 250 to 300. Home must be habitable. We're not buying mobile homes, even with a permanent foundation, still a mobile home. We're not buying farms and ranches. The gray area on land, single family land with acreage, or a farm or a ranch, is that if there's comparables, we could probably do it. Recent comps that where we can justify a price. We just don't want to get stuck holding something that's like so obscure.
Right, sure.
Yeah. Okay, everything you need is on Homeward.com. It's not an app. Go to Homeward.com. It's very mobile friendly. You can start an application there. You've already set it up, right? You've done this.
I haven't used Homeward, but I've been to the site.
Okay. You can start an application there. You can submit an offer request there. There's offer instructions there. Proof of funds are in the offer. The proof of funds letter is in the offer instructions. So everything you need. There's a listing agent FAQ that you can submit. Although listing agents are probably calling you back now, which is nice. Which is really nice. Submit an offer there. You can view your client's status here. So here's your client. The appropriate people, so like loan advisor, customer experience rep, everybody's on that page, so you can know who to call. We have on the Homeward.com, once you've created a portal and a site, like a login, you have access to the agent resources, which includes marketing, the Facebook page, it's Homeward Agent Referral Network, if you want to search it to join. And we see referrals going back from Texas to Georgia to Colorado to Arizona. Script booked there. Scripts are good in the absence of intuition. For me, it's about 50-50. Sometimes I know what to say. If I don't know what to say, I better know the script, right? And then Homeward Bound is a newsletter. That Homeward Bound newsletter has got some really valuable talking points, statistics, around the power of cash. So like all the ones that I'm sharing with you have come from that newsletter. Okay.
Marketing materials out there?
Yeah. Act like you're at a restaurant, post-COVID. Scan the menu if you haven't already. Or you can go to homeward.com/start and start and create an account. We've got 5 minutes, ask questions. I'll stick around. I'd love to pull up the marketing materials if you want to see those. You want to see those real quick?
Sure.
So once you've created the site, go ahead and go to homeward.com and then you can sign in. Yes, got it right. Okay. So once you're here, you can start a client, get a client started here. Also on this menu is where the agent resources are. So you're going to click on that. Scroll down until you see marketing assets. Click on view. Here are the states. Remember I told you we're in 7. So it's Arizona, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Oregon, Texas, and Washington. Obviously we're Georgia. So you click on that. And guys, you have fact sheets. The fact sheets are 1-page documents designed to go on a listing presentation or a buyer consult. That's the agent that I was mentioning that's getting a 40% conversion in open houses, uses the 1-sheets. They're customizable in Canva. You know, he's got his info all over it. I think he may have even removed Homeward in some cases, which you can.
You put those in a Facebook ad?
Well, we have social media, and yes, of course. We have social media. So these are customizable templates in Canva again. Success stories. My favorite one is this 0 days with in-laws, right? My client just closed with cash, you know. And you'll notice as you go through these, the majority of our marketing materials don't say Homeward. We don't want your client coming to our site without you. We want your client. Now, sometimes clients do find us and put your name, attach your name to us. But what we'd rather do is have you tell them about it and start an application for them. Because if we can't help them if they come without an agent, they have to have an Homeward agent. Client testimonials. This is the magic email. Okay, guys, listen. Promise me this. You send out this email, I guarantee you in the next 30 days, you will get a list buy listing. I guarantee it. I've seen it happen over and over and over again. Remember me talking about the 9 people that would never call you? They're Googling it right now. How do I do this? You send out this email campaign that I'm going to show you in a second. Call your favorite 10 people in your database. High influential people. Just have conversations with them. I met with a team 2 weeks ago. They sent out emails. It's been 3 weeks ago now, actually. They sent out emails. They made 1 call. We got 8 referrals, 2 list buy appointments in 10 minutes. I went back about a week ago, and the girl literally that morning had written her first Homeward deal from the email. List buy. So, I mean, it's low-hanging fruit, I'm telling you. So, buy before you sell, download it here. It's going to ask you for, I don't know why they do this, but they ask you for your email again. And then here's 3 emails. Now, you can't read this, but let me read it to you. It says, if you've ever tried to buy and sell a home before, you know how difficult that can be. Until now, you had to sell your house first, and then move in, didn't move twice, or, then buy your next house. Well, no more. Buying before you sell now, we can give you the power of cash. Not only increase your negotiation power, but also avoid moving twice, et cetera, et cetera. Avoid paying 2 mortgages, move once, not twice, skip temporary housing, show your old home after you've moved out, move when it's good for you, not on someone else's timeline. If you're interested, call me. That's 1 of 3. Now, where does it say Homeward? Doesn't. Send it out, get into conversations with those 9 people that are thinking about moving right now. And then if you present this to 10 people, 2 or 3 are going to use Homeward.
Has somebody built that in Command?
Yes. Can you access it? Like, when you say somebody built that in command, can you access it, like if it's in
If
command?
they shared it.
They're sharing.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. The agent that did is out of the Camp Creek Market Center. And he built it out for his entire market center, so I guess I could call him and say, hey, share it.
It's us, we'll make it so.
Well, sweet,
We'll find
there,
out.
there it is, it's on the agent assets, agent resources.
If you're a smart one.
I love that, thank you for asking. Nice. So again, the ultimate lead gen lever, okay? And we're right on time, we're at 1, don't feel obligated to stay, I'll hang out as long as you guys need me. You like it?
Yeah. It's much better. It's just we get paid accordingly.
That clenched it for me.
It did. I gotta say, it did.
Homeward is the only company that interacts and brings in agents as a part of the equation versus doing all the deals on their own, like Knox have their own agents. Or has their own agents.
Yeah, so there's a couple that, so Knock pivoted because they realized how important we are, okay? So they allow you to be the agent on their transactions now. Ribbon is also a power buyer. A lot of agents, guys, when you think Ribbon, a lot of people compare their mortgage-backed guarantee to our cash product. Totally different. And if I'm a listing agent and you bring me a mortgage-backed guarantee, which says this company will buy it if my loan falls apart. When does a loan fall apart? Typically at closing, right? Like the day of closing. Nobody talks about it until, oh my gosh, we need to extend or whatever. Well, Ribbon will step in, but it takes a week. And your seller might be in the parking lot with their moving truck. So don't compare their mortgage-backed guarantee to our cash offer. It's completely different. Our cash offer compared to their cash offer is less expensive when you use Homeward Mortgage. So that's another thing. So those two companies will allow you to be the agent. The one you're thinking about that is direct to consumer that you should be most concerned about is Orchard. Orchard's in our market, and they have a lot of money going into social media, radio advertising, digital marketing through social media. You know, your phone is listening, all of a sudden you got Orchard ads on your Facebook page. So
what's their feature that's?
their product is actually the most similar to ours. The difference is they advertise that it's only 5% to list your house. So for you as an agent, if you don't get proactive with marketing around this, eventually you'll get a call from a seller that says, hey, have you ever heard of Orchard? And now you've lost 1% of your commission on the listing side. So that's
So they're not.
to compete.
They're not direct agent like
They're their own brokerage. They are their own broker. You have to be an agent to use their product. And their stick is to agents is we do all this advertising and create all these leads for you with this product. Well, you can do the same thing using our product.
So how do we get a rep? Our rep?
Oh, so when you create I should have said this. When you created an account today,
Yeah.
your rep is going to email you within the next 2 hours, save their info, schedule a call.
We did that.
Are they local?
Some are. A lot of them are in Austin. They're very familiar. Like for them to work in Georgia, they understand the contracts. Their only goal is to make you look like a hero and help your client understand there's no obligation to apply. Like, let's just get you approved, and then if you need the ace of spades, you've got it. Yeah.
If we did this 2 years ago, I'm sorry, same rep. Those type of-
Yeah, how many are still in this?
Maybe not.
Okay, so we have to do it again.
Yeah. I would even say, like, go as far, even if you think you have an account, go to that homeward.com/start and reapply. If you run into any troubles, my email is john.fountain@homeward.com.
Okay.
Email me and I can tell you exactly who your current rep is.
Are you guys still just, exclusive with KW? Or are you branching out?
We never were exclusive. The deal is, we are KW.
Yeah.
So our greatest foundation is KW. Gary's a fan of Tim and the company. But you still have a major runway, especially in the Atlanta market. I think we've got like 30 partnership agreements and maybe 27 of them are KWs. So,
Good, awesome.
yeah.
Thanks for coming out, man.
My
Appreciate
pleasure. Yeah, thank you guys.
Thanks, man.
Really excited.
Thanks for lunch too.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you guys for being here.
Mistake, not a mistake, it was not a mistake. Because I love my home. But I sold two homes with
Uh,
2019. We found a great house. They wouldn't take it into an offer. And it was owned by a property real company. And it sat empty for like almost 2 years. There's nobody wanted to buy it. It was before the whatever. And my current husband, we were dating at the time. We were like, well, we weren't going to buy until October, but we love this house, or until summer, but we love this house. And it was October. And we were like, how can we buy this house? I had a house, he had a house. And I got on the phone and I negotiated them taking 2 contingencies of ours to buy, but they made twice the commission. And I didn't.
oh, Jennifer.
That was the worst, that's the worst bitter taste in my mouth. I love my home. I love my home and I'm so grateful for it because everything else matched, or it was competitive.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that I paid on the sale of both of our transactions, somebody else.
Well, when Homeward was introduced and Ribbon was introduced to Georgia, Knott was forced to pivot, and they were forced to pivot nationally.
Yeah.
I don't hear, when I come to these classes now, I hear Ribbon a lot more than I hear Knott. It's almost like Knott's kind of disappeared.
I don't see very much about them.
Yeah.
And
It's interesting.
I love the idea of you keeping agents involved in our market. Because this guy that I dealt with, I think one guy was local, but the rest of them were out somewhere else.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was an urgent situation for us because we loved this particular house. We got a great deal on it. I mean, we could, probably sell it.
Yeah.
You know what I
That's
mean?
awesome. Yeah.
In 2019, I'm like, and then COVID hit in January. And if we hadn't moved when we did, we could be still sitting in our homes.
Yeah.
I don't know. It worked, but I'm grateful for the idea.
Well, glad you were here today.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good info. Thank you
That's
so much,
awesome.
John. I
Thanks,
appreciate it.
Jennifer.
I just don't need to thank you. Appreciate it. I'm sure you do somebody else.
Of course, yeah. Of course. Yeah. So guys, thanks for being here.
Oh, yeah, man, thanks for.
Appreciate the information. It's good. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I haven't had anybody take me up on that seller seminar idea, but man, I love it. Yeah, you come up with whatever format you want, but we used to do buyer seminars when I was team leader for the office.
Right.
And we would have a lender there, obviously, to talk about the financing section
Sure.
and get people approved, but sort of envision it happening the same way.
I've not done one yet, but I can see the value in it. And I thought about maybe doing one where I live. I live in Tequila, so right next town is Lawrenceville. Are you local?
Yeah, Westcott.
Okay, so in Lawrenceville, they've got some new, like little breweries and stuff that popped up. And I thought about just renting the space there and doing like a 2-drink deal for everybody that comes and.
Sweet.
I think you gotta do some kind of incentive
Yeah.
for somebody to show up, something like that, absolutely.
That's the 2-drink.
There you go.
Give them a 2-drink voucher and let them bring whoever, reserve it and go over, have a buyer's packet or a seller's packet, either one you want to do. And I could see where this would be valuable
Or
to go along
both,
with that.
just the power of cash.
Or both, right.
Yeah, I mean, just, you can almost make it a client party as opposed to even a seminar in that scenario. And just, let us sponsor it. And give me 15 minutes to talk about, or 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever.
Right.
I mean, Hey, I want to tell you, this guy, Homeward, sponsored us tonight.
Right.
And I want to just give him a few minutes to talk about the power of cash.
Yeah.
You guys may know somebody, possibly you, that is interested in moving in the next year or so. If
Well-
you do, here's a great product.
And as much content as you have, I mean, you had, what was that, an hour's worth of content?
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be worth, I really wouldn't need to talk. I would just let you kind of handle it and be
For sure.
there to help answer questions.
Yeah,
and
for
field
sure,
Conversations that develop from that.
for sure. Yeah, I love it, man. I'm, if nothing else, really curious to know, like, what that could do for
Right,
someone.
right.
You know? If you had a client party like that at a brewery, how many people do you think would show up?
That's what I don't know. It's just something, I've not spent a lot of time assessing that.
Yeah.
It's a good question.
You probably would need to do more RSVPs.
You probably
would.
figure,
Maybe bear or whatever, but it's
probably
like,
figure you'd get 40% turnout. So if you invite 100, you might get 40.
be really good actually if you get 40% turnout.
And I would obviously throw it out to my sphere, but I would think about doing some type of Facebook
Oh,
Digital
marketing.
marketing.
Yeah,
Totally.
just in the Gwinnett County, let's just say Gwinnett County, just shoot it out to Gwinnett County and see how many RSVPs.
Yeah, I think on that.
Put it on next door.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Guys, tell me your names. Clark.
Okay.
Clark.
Yep.
Kirk Ollengren,
Hey, Kurt.
we're near the bottom of that list.
Yeah, see. Yeah, well, if either one of you, want to do something like that, let me know.
All right.
You're like acting.
It's a little bit hipster, but it's
Yeah,
fun.
yeah, it's one of
The
the
brewery.
birds, yeah.
Yeah.
Do the brewery tours for sure.
Mhm. Just here in the bottom of the food.
Where I can't drink
Yeah,
beer
yeah.
anymore, it just makes me blow up like a balloon.
What's that?
I said, I've gotten to where the older I get, I don't drink beer anymore, because it just makes it, the beer that I like, which is typically craft.
Yeah, like an IPA or something, so yeah, that's
Sure.
pretty much all I drink, man, it does, it makes you, it just fills you up, like the flavor's just like.
The flavor is so
Spot
good.
on, dude, it's like, I can't put it down.
My wife and I love Tropic County.
That's good stuff, Creature Comforts, yeah, you can't go wrong with that one. Yeah, that's one of my faves as well. That's a big, I like Hopsecutioner too from Terrapin.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. That's an oldie
Yeah.
but a goodie.
Yep.